Have you ever heard of the vampire squid? Carrying the impressive Latin name of Vampiroteuthis infernalis, literally meaning vampire squid from hell, these foot-long living fossils are more scavengers than vampires, with most of their recorded diet consisting of zooplankton and detritus that happens to drift into contact with their long, sticky sensory filaments. In fact, their entire name is a misnomer, seeing as they're not squid either. They're actually the last members of the extant order Vampiromorphidae, found somewhere between octopodes and squid on the Tree of Life. The aforementioned filaments are what separate them from both sides. In squid, these filaments are fully functioning extra tentacles, bringing their total number up to 10. In octopodes, these filaments are gone entirely, lost to the shifting tides of time. When they were named, back in 1903, it was more for their deep red-black colouring and their cloak-like webbing than for their actual habits. In fact, the vampire squid lives a fairly peaceful life in the OMZ, that's oxygen minimum zone, a depth around a mile down, where the water is only about 3% dissolved oxygen, thanks to its highly specialised hemocyanin that allows it to remain beyond the reach of most apex predators. Recent research suggests that due to their slow metabolism and low rates of predation, vampire squid most likely live around 10 years, which is astoundingly long when compared to the far shorter average lifespan of around 1 to 2 years for shallower dwelling cephalopods. While some deep-sea octopus females have been recorded brooding for up to 4.5 years, there's still little evidence to show any contenders for the vampire squid's throne of longevity. Speaking of brooding, another point of uniqueness in the vampire squid is the manner of its reproduction. The mating habits of the vampire squid are shrouded in mystery, and mating is suspected to be rare due to their solitary nature and the sheer vast emptiness of the environment they live in. However, when mating does occur, however that may be, the females have been known to store sperm packets from males for extended periods of time until she feels ready to reproduce. Vampire squids are heteroparous, meaning they'll reproduce multiple times over the course of their lifetime, and in their case, produce only around 100 fertilised eggs each time, which they'll quickly abandon to the mercies of the drifting water. This is in stark contrast to octopuses, for example, who will produce only one brood in their lifetime, usually of around several hundred eggs, and will breed them for extended periods of time at cost to themselves until the eggs hatch, after which time they die of exhaustion/starvation. Living in the eternal darkness as they do, vampire squid have little use for the highly reactive chromatophores of their cousins, and instead have developed impressive photophores, bioluminescent spots on their membranes that can be controlled at will to create light shows for a multitude of uses. When startled, vampire squid will use these to their advantage in a strange display. Bringing their webbed tentacles up over their head, they'll use their webbing to turn themselves into a football shape, referred to as pumpkin posture. They'll use water to inflate the webbing further, making them look about twice larger than their usual size, and display the fearsome-looking, but in fact harmless, tooth-like cirri on their tentacles' underside. Finally, they use the photophores on the tips of their tentacles to create a glowing spot far above their actual body. The effect of this is twofold. Their size and apparent spininess looks pretty difficult for a predator to swallow whole, and might even scare some away. If the predators do still decide to take a bite, most likely they'll aim for the light target at the tips of the vampire squid's tentacles, rather than a critical bite to the main mass. It's suspected that, like for many squid, these tentacle tips are capable of regenerating after injury, allowing the vampire squid to escape predators with minimal damage. Finally, in a real emergency, our friend has one final trick up their sleeve. While most octopodes are capable of creating an unpleasant inky mess with which to confuse their predators, the vampire squid knows that's not going to fly down in the abyss. So instead, they can jet out a stream of clear, sticky mucus, containing hundreds of individual lights to completely disorientate their attacker. As a bonus, this mucus, and included light show, will stick to creatures it comes into contact with, making them far more visible to other, larger predators, unluckily for them. Meanwhile, the vampire squid is jetted off to a safe distance and will be back to drifting along in the currents.